You've been coached to be confident, to lead, to stand out, to get the girl. You've absorbed a whole playbook: posture, eye contact, witty lines, timing your texts, sounding busy, acting like you have options. And if you're honest, you probably chased validation the way a man in a desert chases water. Because it feels like proof. Proof you matter. Proof you're wanted. Proof you're not invisible. But here's the hard truth most men never get told in plain language. A huge number of men fail at real connection, not because they're ugly, broke, or boring, but because they've been trained to communicate in a way that doesn't land. They've been taught to speak male performance to a system that's listening for something else entirely. A woman isn't primarily scanning your status. She isn't doing a spreadsheet on your gym progress, your followers, your car, your watch, your job title. Those things that can create interest, sure, they can open a door, but they don't keep her there. What she's actually reading at every glance, every pause, every shift in tone, every delayed reply is whether your presence feels like safety wrapped in curiosity. And most men never even realize that's the real test. So they keep trying to convince. They keep trying to earn. They keep trying to win. They show effort, talk big, plan big, try harder. And the more they try, the less they're felt. Because what she wants isn't more performance. She wants a man whose nervous system is steady enough that hers can stop bracing. This isn't a collection of psychology tricks. It's not a hack. It's not how to say the right thing. It's deeper than that, and it's older than modern dating. Under the surface of all the apps and modern language, attraction is still built on biology. For thousands of generations, women had to be more selective, not because they were picky, but because selection had consequences. Pregnancy is costly. Vulnerability is costly. Trusting the wrong man was costly. So the female nervous system evolved to detect signals fast. Signals that don't come from your resume. Signals that come from your regulation, your stability, your emotional accuracy, your ability to be safe when things get real. Back then, a woman didn't choose the man who talked the loudest. She didn't choose the man who made the biggest show. Often, she chose the one whose presence lowered her stress, the one who could read the environment, the one who didn't create extra danger, the one who didn't turn every moment into a contest. That ancient filter didn't disappear because we invented smartphones. It's still here. It just wears modern clothes. Today, she can be educated, independent, ambitious, outspoken. She can have her own income, her own apartment, her own life. And still, deep inside, her system asks the same question it's always asked. Can I relax around this man? Not, is he impressive? Not, is he popular? Not, could he get other women? Not, does he sound confident? Can I relax? That's the gate. And most men never walk through it because they don't even know it exists. Instead, they live on the surface. Compliments, jokes, vibes, intensity, plans, constant contact. And when she pulls back, they panic and add more noise, more messages, more explaining, more just checking in, more grand gestures, more trying to be the perfect guy. But attraction doesn't grow from pressure. It grows from space. It grows from steadiness. It grows from being met. Let's name what keeps killing men's chances, even when the date went fine. The first mistake is chasing the wrong currency. A lot of men are still living like approval is the prize, like a woman's attention is a trophy that proves you're a real man. So every interaction becomes a negotiation. If I say this, will she like me? If I do that, will she stay? If I show less, will she chase? That mindset creates a specific energy. Even if you never say it out loud, it leaks through everything. Your tone, your timing, your neediness disguised as humor, your compliments that feel like evaluation, your constant subtle checking to see if you're doing it right. And she feels it. She might not label it logically, but her body notices. Her system catches the vibration. This man is trying to get something from me. This man is managing me. This man is not fully here. He's performing. That does not feel safe. It feels like pressure, and pressure triggers distance. Now, let's make something clear. Women are not sitting there consciously judging you like an enemy. This isn't about blaming women. This is about understanding the actual mechanics of connection. Her system is built to detect instability. When she senses it, she protects herself, sometimes by going quiet, sometimes by becoming busy, sometimes by losing interest, sometimes by acting confusing. Most men interpret that as a challenge to overcome. It's not. It's a signal you're missing the real language. So, what is that language? It's not flattery, it's attunement. A compliment says, I notice you. Sometimes that's fine, but most men use compliments like coins. They toss them in and expect affection to come out. And a woman can feel when your words are a transaction. I love your hair. You're so smart. You're different from other girls. If your energy underneath it is, please like me, please choose me, please reward me, she hears the hunger more than the compliment. Attunement sounds different. It's not evaluation, it's connection. Instead of you're so smart, attunement sounds like the way you explained that made it click. You've got a sharp way of seeing things. Instead of you're beautiful, attunement sounds like you light up when you talk about what you care about. That's the part of you that's pulling me in. Instead of generic praise, you speak to the real person you're actually meeting. And here's the key: you don't do it to get points. You do it because you're genuinely paying attention. That's why most men can't fake it for long, because it requires a different inner posture. It requires you to stop chasing and start witnessing. That shift alone changes everything. Now let's talk about something men misunderstand constantly: silence. Most men think silence is awkward, a threat, a sign they're failing. So they fill it, they joke, they explain, they change the topic, they talk faster, they add stories, they throw in memes, they do anything to make the moment feel lighter. But silence is not automatically a problem. Silence is where trust is measured. When she shares something real, something personal, heavy, vulnerable, she might pause after it. She might look away. She might stop talking and wait. Men who are uncomfortable with emotion interpret that pause as a cue to perform. So they offer a solution. They minimize it. They try to cheer her up. They pivot to something fun. They say something positive that skips over her reality. And her system translates it as, I can't be fully real with this man. He needs me to be easy. Not because he's evil, because he's untrained, because he thinks being a man means fixing everything. But feelings aren't a broken appliance. They're not a math problem. They're not a task. Sometimes the most masculine thing you can do is not fix. It's hold. Hold the moment. Hold the silence. Hold your own discomfort without dumping it on her. A man with stillness is rare. A man who can sit with emotion without trying to control it is rarer. And that kind of man becomes unforgettable, not because he dazzles, but because he makes life feel breathable. Here's a truth a lot of men need to swallow. When you feel the urge, To fill silence, it's usually not for her. It's for you. It's your anxiety trying to regain control. So the real growth is learning to regulate yourself, to stay present, to let the moment be what it is. You don't need a perfect line. You need a steady nervous system. Now let's talk about consistency, because this is where men lose women they actually like. A lot of men confuse intensity with connection. They come in hot, long talks, deep messages, late night vulnerability, strong pursuit, big compliments, big plans. Then they crash. They get busy. They get distracted. They start responding slower. They go cold. They reappear with wanna hang, like nothing happened. Men often think this is normal. They tell themselves, I'm just not trying to seem too eager. Or, I don't want to look needy. Or, I'm being masculine by not over investing. But her system experiences it as unpredictability. And unpredictability feels like danger. Not, he's a bad guy. Just, I can't relax because I don't know what version of him I'm getting. Women don't interpret volatility as passion the way men sometimes do. They interpret it as risk. So if you want deeper connection, stop building fireworks. Build rhythm. Rhythm is steady contact without clinging. Rhythm is clarity without pressure. Rhythm is showing up the same way across time. You don't have to text all day. You don't have to be available 24/7. You don't have to become a servant, but you do have to be coherent. Your energy needs to make sense. A woman can handle slow progression. She can handle a busy schedule. She can handle a man with a life. What her system struggles with is inconsistency that feels emotional. Attention one day, distance the next, warmth, then ambiguity, depth, then casual. When your presence is rhythmic, her body learns, I can lean here. That's when attraction grows roots. Now here's another myth men are sold. That trust is earned by being flawlessly polite. So men become careful, controlled, overly nice, overly agreeable, always supportive, always available, never challenging, never expressing frustration, never showing edges. And they think that's safety, but to her, that often reads as either insecurity or strategy, because real safety isn't perfection. Real safety is honesty handled well. Women don't trust a man who never has a negative emotion. They trust a man who can have one without becoming dangerous. They watch how you handle frustration. They watch how you handle disappointment. They watch how you handle fatigue. They watch how you handle being wrong. They watch how you handle not getting what you want. Not because they're trying to trap you, because those are the moments a mask slips. The man who can say calmly, I'm overwhelmed today, I need a minute, is more trustworthy than the man who pretends he's always fine. The man who can say, I messed that up, and I'm sorry, without excuses is more attractive than the man who performs perfection. The man who can feel deeply without making it. Everyone else's problem is rare. That's safely imperfect. That's real strength. Now let's address the word men hate. Testing. Men get bitter about tests. They think women are playing games. They say, why can't she just be direct? Sometimes she is. Sometimes she isn't. But regardless of how you feel about it, here's what matters. Much of what you experience as tests are simply moments where her system is trying to verify safety. She's not asking, is he better than other men? She's asking, is it safe for me to soften here? So when she pulls back a little, or goes quiet, or says something like, you don't get me, you can hear it as an attack, or you can hear the underlying request, can you stay present when it isn't easy? Most men fail right there. They get defensive, they argue, They explain. They try to prove they get her. They try to win the moment. But the moment isn't an argument, it's a doorway. If you walk through it with calm curiosity, everything shifts. Curiosity sounds like, help me understand what you mean. Tell me what that felt like for you. Where do you feel misunderstood? Notice what that is not. It's not, that's not fair. It's not, I did nothing wrong. It's not, you're overreacting. It's not, here's why you shouldn't feel that way. You don't need to surrender your spine. You don't need to accept disrespect. This isn't about becoming a doormat. It's about choosing connection over ego when connection is the goal. A man can have boundaries and still be attuned. In fact, a man with no boundaries often feels unsafe too, because it can signal he's hiding resentment or lacks self-respect. The balance is this: steady, clear, emotionally honest. Now let's get extremely practical, because this can't stay as philosophy. A lot of men hear emotional safety and think it means endless deep talks and therapy language. No, it means you develop three core capacities. One, regulation. Can you stay calm without shutting down? Can you stay present without flooding the moment with anxiety? Can you tolerate discomfort without trying to control her? A regulated man is not numb. He's grounded. Two, attunement. Do you actually listen for what she means, not just what she says? Do you pick up tone? Do you notice shifts? Do you respond to the emotional content, not just the facts? Facts are the surface. Emotion is the truth. Three, consistency. Do your actions match your words over time? Is your interest coherent? Is your communication stable? Do you show up with the same character on good days and bad days? Characters are what relaxes her. And here's the part men often resist. You don't develop those capacities to get women. You develop them because they make you a better man, period. Because they make your friendships stronger. They make your family relationships cleaner. They make your leadership more solid. They make your life less chaotic. They make you proud of how you move through the world. And women can feel that pride, not arrogance, quiet self-respect. Now let's talk about the conversational mistakes that sabotage men, even when they have good intentions. Mistake: responding with solutions too fast. She tells you she had a stressful day. Your instinct is to fix it. You should do this. Why don't you just tell your boss? Here's what I do. But what she often needs first is recognition. That sounds heavy. Yeah, that would drain anyone. I can hear how much that took out of you. Recognition first. Solutions later, if she asks. Mistake: making it about you too quickly. She shares something. You relate by telling your story. You think you're bonding. Sometimes that's fine. But if you do it too soon, she feels like you're hijacking the moment. Her system reads, this man can't hold my experience without turning it into his. Try this. Stay with her for one extra beat. Ask one more question about her before you share your parallel experience. Mistake: using jokes to dodge depth. Humor is good. Humor is attractive, but humor used as an escape route kills trust. If every real moment gets turned into a joke, she learns, I can't go deep here. Mistake: over complimenting. A few meaningful compliments are great. Constant praise can feel like you're trying to buy her, or like you're not actually seeing her, just projecting desire onto her. Make compliments specific, grounded, and occasional, then let your presence do the rest. Mistake: checking too much. Texting in a way that subtly asks, are we good? Do you still like me? Did I mess up? It leaks insecurity. Instead of fishing, Lead with clarity. I enjoyed last. Night. I'd like to see you again. Are you free this weekend? Simple. Clean. No pressure. No begging. Now let's talk about something men need to hear without sugar. Transactional kindness. There's a type of man who is nice, but his niceness is a contract. He gives attention, favors, constant support, patience, while quietly expecting sex, affection, commitment, or admiration. A woman feels that contract even if you never say it, and it makes her feel trapped. Obligation is not attraction. If your kindness has hidden invoices, it will poison everything. Real kindness is freely given. It's not a strategy. And the irony is, the more your kindness is real, the more it becomes magnetic, because it's rare to feel generosity without demand. Now, I want to speak directly to the man who's tired, the man who keeps trying to do everything right and still ends up watching her fade. You're not crazy. You're not doomed. You're not just not good enough. But you might be running an old operating system. You might still believe your value comes from being chosen. That belief turns women into judges and turns dating into a performance review. It makes you tense. It makes you chase. It makes you overthink. It makes you interpret every delay as rejection. It makes you abandon your center. And when you abandon your center, her system feels it. The most attractive shift you can make is this: stop auditioning. Start showing up. Not with arrogance, with groundedness. Groundedness says, I like you, and I'm interested, and I'm not going to abandon myself to earn you. That is confidence that doesn't need to announce itself. Now, what about masculinity? Because some guys worry this whole presence thing sounds soft. Here's the clean truth: true masculinity isn't loud, it's stable. A man who can stay steady in emotional weather is not weak, he's formidable. Any man can act confident when everything is light and playful. The test of a man is what he does when things get real. When she's upset, when you're misunderstood, when you're both tired, when conflict shows up, when plans change, when stress hits. If you become harsh, cold, dismissive, sarcastic, defensive, her system learns danger. If you become calm, honest, direct, and open, her system learns safety. Safety doesn't mean you never disagree. It means disagreement doesn't turn you into a threat. Now, I'll give you a few phrases that are simple, masculine, and powerful, not as scripts, but as examples of how regulated men speak. When she shares something heavy, that sounds like a lot. Do you want to be heard, or do you want help solving it? When she's quiet, you got quiet. What's going on inside? When you don't understand her, I'm not getting it yet. Walk me through it. When you're overwhelmed, I want to keep talking, but I'm flooded right now. Give me 10 minutes, then I'm back. When you make a mistake, I handled that poorly. I'm sorry. Here's what I'm going to do differently. None of that is fancy. It's solid. It's adult. It's rare. Now let's build the picture of what being the man she relaxes with looks like in real life. It's not being her therapist. It's not constant deep talks. It's not reading her mind. It looks like this: you're present when you're with her, not half on your phone, not scanning the room for validation, not performing for strangers. You're there. You listen to understand, not to win. You keep your word. You communicate clearly. You don't leave her swimming in ambiguity. You don't punish her emotionally when you're upset. You don't withdraw to make her anxious. You don't play hot and cold to gain leverage. You handle your stress like a man, meaning you own it. You name it when appropriate. You don't spray it onto her. You have standards. You have direction. You have a life. And you're not asking her to complete you. That's what relaxes her. Not because she wants perfection, because she can trust your character. Now, I'm going to share two short stories, not fairy tales, just composites, patterns that happen all the time. A man is in a relationship where they keep arguing. He thinks the fix is logic. He brings evidence, timelines, and points. He wants to be right because being right feels like control. But every time he wins, he loses her softness. One night, she finally says, I don't feel safe talking to you. Not physically unsafe, emotionally unsafe. Like any vulnerability becomes a debate. He does something different for once. He stops trying to correct her. He says, tell me what I do that makes you feel that way. Then he shuts up. He listens. He doesn't defend. He doesn't justify. He absorbs it. She cries. Not because he said something magical, but because he stayed, because he didn't turn her experience into a courtroom. That's when the relationship starts healing. Not from gifts or trips, but from a man choosing presence over pride. Second story, a single guy who's been on countless dates. He thinks he needs better jokes, better photos, more status. He's chasing interesting. But the women he likes keep drifting away. He can't figure out why. On a date, a woman casually mentions she's been anxious about a presentation at work. The old version of him would say, you'll do great, and pivot to something fun. Instead, he pauses and says, that kind of pressure can sit in your chest all day, can it? She goes quiet, then she nods. Not because he solved anything, because he named what it feels like, because he met her where she actually was. The date changes. She opens up, not because he impressed her, but because she felt accompanied. That's the difference between talking and resonating. Now, if you want to embody this, you need a new target. Most men target attraction. A better target is become the man who can hold connection. Because attraction without capacity turns into chaos. You can get attention with looks, humor, money, confidence. But if you can't hold emotional reality, you'll keep repeating the same cycle. Spark, intensity, confusion, distance, ending. So here's your work. In plain terms, train stillness. When you feel the urge to fill space, breathe. Let there be quiet. Let her speak. Let the moment mature. Train listening, not listening for a chance to talk. Listening for her inner world. Ask yourself, what is she feeling underneath these words? Train steadiness. Be coherent. Don't create emotional whiplash. If you're interested, show it calmly. If you're busy, communicate it. If you need space, name it without punishment. Train honest imperfection. Stop trying to look flawless. A man who can admit mistakes without collapsing is strong. Train self-respect. Want her, but don't. Need her to decide your worth. That's the spine. And let me say something that might challenge you. You don't become this man by trying harder with women. You become this man by becoming more solid with yourself. Because when your life is chaotic, your dating will be chaotic. When your emotions are unmanaged, your relationships will be unstable. When your worth depends on being chosen, you will chase and perform. So build a life you respect. Sleep, fitness, work ethic, discipline, friendships, purpose, skills, peace, not to get her. To become someone you don't abandon. Then when you meet her, you're not offering desperation. You're offering presence. And presence is the rarest currency left. Now I'll close with this. You've been told to make the next move, to send the right text, to say the right thing, to keep her interested, to avoid being too much, to act like you don't care. Forget all of that for a moment. The real move is internal. It's the moment you stop trying to be a man who gets women and you start becoming a man who can meet a woman, not as a prize, not as a judge, not as a source of validation, as a human being with a nervous system, a history, a heart, and a radar for safety. And you meet her with the same honesty you demand. You don't need louder confidence. You need quieter strength. The strength to hold silence. The strength to stay steady. The strength to be clear. The strength to be human without making it her burden. The strength to stop performing and start being present. Because in the end, she's not waiting for your next line. She's waiting for your groundedness. She's waiting for the man who can sit in the room without needing to take it over. The man who doesn't need to win the moment because he's building something bigger than a moment. That man doesn't chase connection. He becomes the place where connection can finally land.